Okay, we have a little the bc10 machine here. The standard pop machine. Just how to fill it, and a few little tips here. So this will fit cans. You can see 4 bottles back there: Pepsi bottles, Coke bottles, 7-Up bottles, whatever. It will fit Monster cans. The little slim cans such as Red Bull, maybe like Lipton green tea, like the Red Bulls like this. You got to get a special adapter for them, which is expensive. Certain bottles, say if you wanted to put, say like this tea in here, this probably would work, but you could only go about maybe 10 high, because what will happen is, since that bottle's shaped like that, most likely, if there's an odd bottle, or if the bottle's softer like this kind of is, you don't want to get too many on top of each other, because they will collapse themselves and they get jammed in the thing. So you could probably only go about 10, 12 high, just like water. My top end on water, you see this bar that crosses. I'm going no higher than that. So there's that little lesson. So cans, you see how you fill them side by side like this, and you also see that in the front, caps go toward you. In the back, caps go away from you. Simple. They all have adjustments on them. If the bottle size, like that Monster back there, it's going to be shorter. This Gatorade is shorter. You see how it's back a little bit. This gate will adjust. You see all these little notches here. I could take this off, move this gate back to here, and the same story over here. There's a little bar right there that will pop up, and you can move this whole gate back that way. This gap right here would be shortened. Now, I don't really bother with that on these Gatorades. It's the only problem is if all of a sudden you start seeing bottles doing this and getting jammed. That's why you would close that gap. Now in the back, it's much easier. You see this thing with the holes in it. All you have to do is lift up. There's no screws, no nothing. It just lifts up and sets in those little grooves back there. Very easy to change. So when I'm choosing where to put stuff, I'm going to put things that I have to shift the depth. Try to put them in the back, and that's why Monster's in the back, Water's in the back most of the time. Things like that. The other thing to think of is on the left side, it's the hardest to get into because of the door. So I'm going to put my slowest seller in that back left. Now in this case, it's pretty low, which, shoot, I did not bring Pepsi cans today. So I'm going to be short there. But in general, that would be the toughest, because you got to get your left hand in here, and you got to kind of slide yourself in between the door and that. So, yeah. Now the other thing to think of is when you have, like in this machine, I have a double row Mountain Dew. Well, invariably, what people will do is they'll always select the same selection. They know that let's say Mountain Dew's in number 14. They're always going to choose that. Even though Mountain Dew's in 2 different columns, they're going to choose it. And more often than not, most people will choose that same column. So what happens is you've got one column that gets really low, one column that's up. And then so what you want to do when you go filling is just take the ones from the top column and move them over to the faster selling column. That way you're rotating the drinks. I'm not going to do the entire column, but I might move, in this case, I would probably move 6 or 8 of them. That way it's just a constant rotation, because otherwise you're just going to always just fill this column up right here, and pretty soon this one's gonna be, the dates are gonna be off, and you know, you're gonna have some stale drinks, whereas it won't otherwise. Same thing will happen in a machine like this. You see I have double row of Red Bull, and you can see back there that sure enough, one row's full, one row's not. So I'm just gonna rotate. I'm gonna take 3 or 4 from the right side, move them to the left, and the new stuff that I brought is gonna go to the right. And I think I showed another video where how this machine works. When I select the column, this motor here turns, picks up the drink, drops it on. This down here has a sensor, which is this gray cord that connects right there. You see the gray cord comes up, and there's a sensor. You see the cord right there. It like sits here, so it's a vibration sensor. So when that tray there vibrates, it tells the machine that it bended. Let's see, one other thing. When you're filling bottles, what you want to do is when you're filling them, you see these rails on the left and right. You want that butt end to hit those on the left and the right. So what happens if you're just filling quick and let's say, you know, I'm just like this, and I'm not, let's get past that. Yeah, if I'm not paying, if I'm just going too quick, maybe I'm, you know, you have them sitting like this, or, you know, whatever it may be, just the bottles will start to, as they bend, they're going to get stuck. So if you can get that butt end, basically, you're on this side wall and in the back rail, they should hit, and when you stack, everything should be level. If you start to notice things are kind of getting out of level, well, you know something down below is not quite right. That will avoid many jams that you will come across, because you might come in someday, and what will happen, so what will happen if these, as these start to bend in this type of machine, is sometimes, remember, they might slide, they get twisted, something kind of gets caught like this, and as they bend, this guy might get stuck like that. So yeah, what'll happen is they'll start to bend, the bottles will get twisted, that guy will start doing this, and as they bend down, he starts to do this, and he'll get jammed right in there, and he'll get jammed in that. So what you got to do is you just got to pull everything out and get it out of there. But you can avoid a lot of that. It will happen either way sometimes, but you can avoid it happening regularly if you just make sure you're stacking right against those side walls like that. You kind of try to keep everything flat. Cans, they just rarely get jammed, but you always fill them side by side like that, you know, for their level. You don't want to fill it like that. That's what the machine does, is it will alternate when it bends. Like if you look down here, it will bend this, and then this, and then go back to the next row, this, and on up. So let's see. Continuing on this video, how does the machine know whether it's a can or a bottle to bend? Because what the machine will do is it will make a full turn on the motor. If it's a bottle, it will make a half turn on a can. How does it know that? Because you will tell it what's in there. This is on the inside of every machine. There's a service button right up in here, and it will tell you it's 4 is the number. So you press the service button to get into this menu, and then you hit 4. 1 is item, and then you'll change that to you just kind of hit 1 again to change it from can to bottle. So again, you just got to do stuff to figure it out. Pricing, same thing. 5, 1, change one item, and then it'll. So let's do it here. We got service button. We go to the outside. We'll hit 4. And it tells us that. And we're going to hit 1, it said, to get into the item. Let's choose 13. It should say bottle, because that's the Dr. Pepper bottle. If I wanted to change that, I would press the 1. There goes can. Back to bottle. Back to can. Back to bottle. And when I save it, I press the pound sign to save. Now it stopped flashing. Goes back. This is the back button. Back 1 on the screen. This is 10 motors working. That's when you press the selection button, that's what you'll see. Snack machines, usually you'll press them and it'll say 32, because that's how many motors there are. Going back to that, I'd press 5 for the price, 1 to change the item. What's 13? 13, 125. If I wanted to change the price, I'd just, 150. Save. Now if we go back 1 screen, now we can check that price, and that was selection 13. Now it's 150. Of course I'm going to change it back. Save. There. So really easy thing to use to change prices and everything else. Goes very quick. Here's what I've made. These F and B's stand for front and back. They're just little magnets strip magnets you can buy at Walmart, which I just cut right on with a Sharpie. So I will move this when I'm done filling the machine to the level of where I left it. That way, the next time in, if this is here, if this is here, and I left it, and now Coke is down here, well, I know how much sold. Gives me a good idea of what to bring the next time. You can see how the back last time was right there, and Dr. Pepper's down here at the level of Coke. So, sold probably, 6 or 8 of them since last time. So let's say I didn't bring any today. Well, I know I'm going to sell another 6 or 8 probably for the next time. So I should bring 3, 4 of them next time to get it back up to the level it needs to be. This will hold pretty much 26 bottles, so more or less 4 6-packs, and it will hold 2 24-packs of cans. So, alright, I think that's it. It's a nice long video, but that's how this machine works.